God bless everybody. Today it's May 22nd, 2021. The time is 11:17 a.m. Central. We're going to talk about the Bitcoin potential crash and how it's going to bring the markets down quite a bit in the next couple weeks. If you're looking at my other articles, videos, and different things I do, you can go to my eschatology page at endofdaysurvival.com, and it has all my charts, graphs, timelines, videos, different things like that. Check them out. But today we're going to talk about the Bitcoin potential, excuse me, crash on the markets and how it's going to affect us in the near future. So when I was talking about my earlier video I just did last night, I posted that already. I was talking about how this trough here, from the point of deflection down when this was wounded by Elon Musk, Bitcoin started to move down. Okay, and what's happening is it's moving down these trenches. There's zones, and as it slides down these zones, it gets down to the point where it starts to bottom out. Well, this trajectory, if you go out and look at a main chart, like this chart, you'll realize that there's no uptrend here, okay? Everything is down. There's nothing to hold this thing from moving out, and it's going to exponentially just keep moving down unless there's a catalyst that can bring it back basically over the top of, the 50 cent mark on this is Doge, but Doge is following this completely, so you can look at Dogecoin and Bitcoin and you can actually see the differences. Let me go to that chart real quick. So this is your Bitcoin chart, and like I say, it's 11:20 a.m. Central Time. And you notice that if you don't go into the earlier, like 5-minute charts, you can't really see anything. You want to bring this thing out so you can actually see what's happening out here. And you'll notice that the trend since about May 8th has been down. Okay, there is no upward momentum here to matter. And what's happening is, as this thing keeps troughing back and forth as it's bleeding out, it's just going to keep bleeding out until it hits that potentially 8-cent mark where this deflection up was. When it started to move the stock from about 5 to 8 cents, it started to then track up until it hit 70. Well, this is Bitcoin. I'm talking about Doge. So let me go there. And I don't mean to be confusing in the charts, but Doge and Bitcoin basically are the same chart, as you can tell. This is Doge, okay? And this is Bitcoin. They're the same chart, okay? At the end, once Musk wounded Bitcoin, it changed the way this whole market works. And so it is now bleeding out, and you can see that this trend in Bitcoin is straight down. I mean, straight down. There's nothing here to support it. There's no history except for a little bit here, here, and here in these upward trends, but there's no history or trade action through this whole gap, okay? And what it's trying to do is it's trying to now hold itself up because this leg here is not allowing it to do that, okay? It's going to fall over. But this momentum down is telling me that this is going to bottom out within the next week to 10 days. This is going to be a fairly slow bleed. It keeps going down, and there is nothing to start moving this market back up to where we can hit these highs again around in the 50s, over 50, 55, 59, to where it actually starts moving the market back up again. This is a slow death event, literally a slow death event. And so from this point of 8 cents, where it started to move itself up, it's going to take a downward trend and it's going to build a secondary leg. I don't know how deep this thing's going to go. Bitcoin could go, below 15,000 if this is the case, because Bitcoin also has not built a real future or history here, because it's got this main section that it's trying to rebuild, okay? So it wants to fill all this in, and it's going to build a new leg, and then it's going to bounce back up. Well, Doge is similar. So you can see Doge's chart is similar. It's on a downward trajectory. But Bitcoin is determining this event. And it will determine how the markets open on Monday. Because think about this. If we keep bleeding down in the markets, not necessarily Monday, but throughout this week and next Monday, by the time we get to the point where it stops bleeding out, and I can sort of show you that on the time frame, I believe. I'm not sure. I mean, these things move out, and that's why I keep saying some of the times this stuff moves out, but it seems like within the next 7 to 10 days, this is really going to look pretty ugly unless something turns this back up. And it's Bitcoin at this point that we have to really be watching. So if you blow Bitcoin's chart out to at least a day, you'll see this main downdraft. Okay, it's really starting to gain momentum down, but yet it's just slow. I mean, it'll spike up, and they'll fake these guys into buying because they think it's going to go way up, and it's not. And then what'll happen is it'll drop, and then it'll start moving back down. But what's happening is these are not higher highs; they just keep getting low or higher lows, and you just keep or lower lows on the bottom side, and you just keep moving this down. And what's going to happen with Bitcoin as well as Doge's, I think we're going to see it try to build a secondary base leg to give it more support, which is good for the market because it will then give it stability and a history through here, so that when it goes back up and it hits these lines again, as it's coming back up, it's going to start building new future history. I don't know how you say it. As you move forward, you're getting more, consolidation here, and so then it won't come back down as easily because the chart will have more depth to filling these gaps that it's. But I don't see anything good here. I might be wrong. I just don't see anything good here. What I'm seeing is that as I am on Doge, and we'll go to Doge real quick. So this is Doge's chart, and like I say, it's 11:27 a.m. Central Time, and this is about the time. Let me go out to my thing so I can see my time frames. Yeah, this is about the time Musk damaged Bitcoin, and we started to see this downward trench. And you can see, if you pull this up right and you actually look at the chart, you can see this main downtrend. Okay, now it could come back up, and if it gets above 50, it's in this nice resistance area, and so it'll have trouble coming back down again, because now it's built all this additional history as it moves back up. So 49's above 50. So if you're buying in below 50 cents, you're probably getting a pretty good deal, because once this moves up, it's really going to be hard to get back down below all this madness, because now it does have some history. And so once it goes back up, it could come back down. I mean, there are some gaps here it still has to fill, but it's starting to do that. But if it builds this secondary leg to 8 cents, look at that, and you move this out on the trajectory that it could fall, so it could go here to 8 cents. That's your outer limit, okay? Or it could trough as it moves down here this could really start to take a dive, and it would then change the time frame from, if you go to 8 cents here, I don't know exact time frame. I'd have to go out and look at it. You're talking about June 10th. This could take potentially weeks to totally bleed out, or it could change the trajectory down, and this could be in a week. You see how that works? As this trend line here decides, it's going to bounce off of this and move down, okay? And this is why I think this is going to be an extremely long process, maybe a couple weeks before we get down to this point, because if you go to the 8 cent mark here and you look at the timestamp, you're in June 11th, okay? I don't know if it will bleed out for potentially 2 or 3 weeks before it gets to the bottom. And that will make everybody extremely edgy on what to do with their money, especially in the stocks. Most people believe that crypto's coming back and it's going to be the futuristic currency. I truly believe that's to be the case. I don't believe it's the beast system until Antichrist comes down. I've talked about that in the last video. But this is a time in history that could potentially be earth-shattering to the financial institutions, because the regulatory banks and the fiat currencies are moving away, and the currencies of the cryptos are taking them down. And let me show you something here real quick. So if you go out to the market caps and the cryptocurrencies, what you're going to see is something really interesting. So Bitcoin was over $1 trillion, $1.1 trillion when this catastrophe started to take effect. And look at how the market cap dropped. Okay. What they're doing is they're taking money out of Bitcoin because it's always going to be a monetary value that is limited in the amount of coins that they're making, and so it's going to be expensive and it's going to be hard to get, and it's not going to be a usable commodity in general. It's going to be more like gold where you store it for long term. Ethereum is the platform that Doge works off of, so it's a higher market cap. But this is really interesting. Doge has now surpassed XRP. It's coming up to Binance, Cardano, and what he's trying to do is he's trying to move this down to where it's about half valued, about half, 500 billion, and he's trying to bring these currencies up. It evens the level of the playing field. It allows them to reset the values of the currency, so you can buy in, especially in Doge and some of these other like Cardano. You're getting this stuff for pennies at this point. And if you go out to these charts and you look at the Doge charts and different things, you're realizing that you're getting this stuff for pennies on the dollars. And so if you look at Doge and your main line is around 50 cents, where you're getting, a really good deal. That's probably fair market price for this coin before it goes up. If you get below 50 cents in this market, you're going to get a deal, because it's not going to come back down once it's going to take a lot to get her back down here once it builds this leg and then shoots back up. Okay, and then it's going to hit the all-time high and then really move up probably before the end of the year. This is easily going to be $1 or more. Okay, but if you're down here, you're going to get this at a really cheap price, and so anything below 50 cents or less is going to be a really good, and you're going to be a pioneer if you get it there, because you're going to say, hey, I bought Doge, for under 50 cents, and in general that would be really cool. But as the system changes into the beast system, as Antichrist gets on the ground, it might not be so cool. But this is your hedge against inflation right now. And so if you take this chart out and you look at about where it might end up, I'm thinking this leg is going to come down and we're going to see it build this leg probably sooner than this June indicator that this will start to gain momentum and follow this trend more so, and that by the end of next weekend and the open of Monday's markets on, it's the 24th, the 31st, I think, would be the market open on Monday. I don't have a calendar in front of me. You could potentially see this leg built. But think about that. So the weekend's coming up next weekend, and I'm not saying anything like this could happen. I don't know, okay? This is a trajectory down, and it has no support to bring it up, and nothing here that's showing me that this is an uptrend in any way, shape, or form. It's all down. And so, will it build this leg? Maybe in here, I don't know. It's got this gap between the 28th and the 12th, where this thing could actually bleed out so slowly that the markets really don't know what to do. And then we're getting what we call these head fakes. And what I mean by a head fake is, so if you're here and you're trying to decide, you're going down, you're thinking, man, I want to really buy in low, and you're at 34 cents, which this seems to be a trend of being in the 30s, and they want you to get rid of your coins. And then what will happen is you'll get down here, and if you're scalping, this is awesome, okay, because you get this upward momentum, and so you can pick up 2 or 3 cents, and then it goes down. It just keeps going down. So if you bought in here thinking this is going to go way up, past up to 74 cents where it was before, you're being head faked, because it's not going to do that. So you're selling your coins here, okay? You're thinking, wow, I'm going to get this high profit. And you think, way up in here somewhere, and it's not doing that. It's then coming back down, and then it's resettling back in the trough. And these are manipulations, okay? They're manipulating the market up 2 or 3 cents. Must Tweet does the same similar thing, and then it retracts, and it starts to walk back down into the trench. And until this moves above this, or this, or this, and you start to see an upward trend to where it actually moves past this highs, and this high, and that high, this is not going upwards. Even this, look at that. And that says a lot. Okay, so you had a spike, but it didn't get any higher than this. And this spike is higher than this spike. This spike couldn't get up any higher than this. And this spike, you think, oh, that's higher. No, it's not. It's actually lower. And so that's it's a higher low, high to low, or lower high. I guess I'm dyslexic, so you know how this works for me. And now the next one will be a lower high to this one. And so, and these are, lower to higher, okay? But these trends will start to move back down as this changes. So you see that trajectory go up, but that's not higher than this. And so what they're doing is they're getting you to sell your tokens, or buy your tokens here. Buy your tokens here. And then it goes up. And if you sold them here, you'd be good because you made 2 cents per token. But then it comes back down and it starts dropping below this. And now you're in a trap. Why are you in a trap? Because you bought them at 33 cents up here, and now it's at 28. Well, you can't sell without a loss. So now you just have to ride it out. Okay, you can't do anything else at that point other than sit back. And you bought in good. That's 34 cents. That's a really good point of, entrance. But if you go out to this 4 hour meter and you look at this and you go, you know what, I bought in here, and it's ending up down here, you're being forced to liquidate your bag or your money before here, and you're buying in too soon because you could have got it for half price down here. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. This is the trend that's moving, and this is what I'm looking at. I've got a little money on the sideline. I'm sitting here waiting for this thing to basically basically crap on us. I don't know what else to say. This is not looking good in any way, shape, or form, and it's going to take time to bleed out. This is not a flash crash. This is not a overnight sensation. This is going to take time to bleed down to where it just can't hold itself up. Now, could it change around? Yeah. I mean, something could propel this into a position of it changing its momentum. But if you blow the chart up and look at it in the proper perspective of time and compress it just a little, this thing really, since Saturday Night Live, is in a downtrend. And it really just hasn't recovered. And so, May 13th or 14th, whatever that date was that Saturday Night Live happened, and to today, we've seen this massive dump. And I just don't see this improving. What will it do to the normal markets? That's the question, because I believe the cryptocurrency will come back fairly quick. Once it hits this bottom, wherever it is, and that leg might be a little shorter and then it comes back up. And that's a problem in itself. In reality, it would be best if it did really crap all the way down here, and I'm sorry about my language, but it'd be a good thing if it actually got down to 8 cents and then came back up, because then it would give this whole structure support. And then it wouldn't want to come back down. Once it shot back up, it won't come back down. And it will go back up. I'm not concerned about the cryptocurrency space. It is not going anywhere, and it will be the beast system over time in the next 3 or 4 years, but it's not right now. It's what you're going to have to deal with. But I am concerned about the stock market and how it's going to react on Monday, and see this major bleeding out, because the technicals will finally show itself to the main analysis, and I don't know why they're I've only seen 2 or 3 guys out here that say this is going to maybe get to this level now that I've, been talking about this. I've gone out and I see a few guys going, you know what, this could really get ugly. Okay, well, yeah, it really could get ugly. It probably will get ugly, and there's a purpose of this. He's going to make the exchange of the currencies. He's going to change fiat into crypto, and he's going to move this away from this, decentralize this away from the banks. And in reality, that would be good for the population, but the end game will end up being bad for us all, because there'll be a man that manipulates the system over time called the Antichrist. And this is where we have to really watch ourselves. Things are really going to get crazy here. June 30th is coming. I keep talking about June 30th. 2,300 days of Daniel, mornings and nights start, I believe, on June 30th of this year. I've been talking about that in my charts, and we'll see whether that starts to really accelerate the geopolitical problems over in the Middle East. So anyway, I don't want to go too deep into this. I don't know where this is going to end. I do not have that kind of a crystal ball. All I can do is tell you that when I looked at the graphs, the numbers and the charts started to indicate to me, through the movement of the different methods here and the grafting of the lines and the zones and different things that you have to look at, and the structure of this chart, and how it's just void and has really no body to it. Because normally stocks will, most stocks don't do this. A normal stock, it'll go up, trough like it did here, and then it'll go up some, and then it will trough for a while, and then it goes up, and then it troughs for a while, and then it goes up. And so it fills all these lines in over time as it's moving up. This sucker just went straight up, and now it's saying, you know what, you compelled me so forward so fast that I have to correct myself. The question is, how deep is the correction? And right now, as you can see, the correction is really starting to bleed out on everything here. And once it hits that 30,000 line, I keep talking about this, to 38,000, it's moving up this moment for a very short period of time. I believe it'll come down. I might be wrong, But once it hits the 35,000 and the 30,000, that's 29.8, then it drops into a new level of no resistance. Okay, see, 28.8 over here too, 29.8. So you're hitting this last of the zone where it actually remembered a whole lot, and then it will dump if it goes deeper than that. That's a real problem. And Doge is no different in the sense that it will get to a certain point where if it hits, and I've been talking about this, 32.5, it was 37 up here, okay? It was like right up in here, 37.5-ish. Can't find the exact one. But then there was another one around 32.5, and then what happens is you hit that 25,000 level down in here, okay? And then the 22, and then you hit the 16,000 level, okay? This 16,000 level, or 16-cent level in Doge, is its last line of resistance and could go down to the 8 cents. And that's why I keep saying, if it goes down to, gets down below 20, now we're talking major hemorrhaging, and this will bleed out, and it will be ugly before it's done. But anyway, God bless. Watch these charts. Bitcoin is dictating everything here. It will be what moves this market in the next week and a half, 10 days, 2 weeks. I don't know. Right now it looks pretty ugly, and it could go out to, pretty far. This chart says that it could actually bleed out potentially in the next 4 days, but I really think it could take a little longer. I just don't know. It just depends on what you're using for a graph, but if that's the case, we're going to be in pretty ugly place by Sunday night when the Asian and Australian markets open up, around 8:30 or whatever Central Time in the United States. And that will dictate how this could be affected, because if the stocks are affected tremendously on Sunday night moving into the open on Monday, and they realize that this massive hemorrhaging is happening, and now we're moving out into, let's see, we're on the 22nd, 24th, we're starting to move out into here, and this really isn't correcting itself, it's just bleeding out constantly. You might be down in the, wow. So it's really tough, man. I mean, you might be down below 29,000, and that's at 30,000 level. That's a big level. The markets are going to react tremendously to that level. You haven't seen that level since, back here in December, or whatever. It was like December 31st, wow, start of the year, Corona. Crazy how these things work. I do not know. Just hold on tight. Don't move. Don't freak out if you have assets. I'm mostly concerned about stocks, 401s and things like that. Metals will move up. Inflation will move up. Cryptos will move up, because everybody will go into bonds, metals, and cryptos to fight the inflation on the stock side of the markets, because nobody's making money in the stocks now because there's no yield at 0%. Flatlined money, free money just being handed out right and left, which is devaluing the currency constantly. So anyway, God bless. Keep an eye on this thing. Next week and a half are really going to be interesting. The next couple days as we move into the news cycle and the new market cycle on Monday is really going to affect us. And as we move into that week, it could be all down all week until we hit a apex next weekend, or a little after that maybe, as this moves out. I could maybe pinpoint times, but it's just too hard. This is a living monster right now, and it's engulfing the whole financial system. It even looks ominous. I mean, this is it's like a dragon getting ready to come out and just devour everything out here. And until it finds a structural base, it will devour everything out here, I believe. So, God bless. Have a great weekend. Keep your eye on things. Go out and buy some food. Get your oil in your lamp. Look at all of the things that are important: water, food, warmth of clothing, hygienes, medicines, a little extra cash in the home. You really can't do much with your 401s or anything, because if you pull your money out now, you're already in losing potential mode as this thing, and you probably don't have time to pull your money out anyway. So you might just have to ride this out. But a lot of people will pull money out and they'll move it to the cryptos, metals, and other commodities to try to hedge against the wealth destruction that's happening on the ground at this very moment. God bless. Find the narrow open door. That's Jesus. You have to find the Son to get to heaven, to get through the open door, to get to the Father, to be with the Son and the Father, and see the Holy, the Spirit, the light of God radiating on everything, His eternal light. You have to go through the only door, and that's the narrow door, and that's Jesus. And so please find Jesus, repent, get on the ground and grovel to Him, and take the skeletons out of the closet and get right with Him, so that when we move forward into the sorrows and the birth pains that I've been talking about for a while, before Antichrist gets on the ground and starts the tribulation period, you need to get right with God, and you need to get right with your family and yourselves so that you can weather through this, because this is going to really start to accelerate. June 30th is an acceleration date on my chart, and it's a no turn back. There is no way to move back from this, and so it is what it is. But God bless you. Find Jesus and be right with God, and protect your families and your friends. Good night. Have a great day.